Hey guys, and welcome to a little bit of a different sort of video. So some of you guys were asking in the live streams about what is going on with this? Okay, it's fine. Never mind. About how do I work with anatomy and how do I do the canine anatomy. So I thought I would demonstrate a little bit with that of how I learned to do anatomy and how I handle doing anatomy. So I've got a bunch of different pictures of wolves here, and to be perfectly honest, this is probably the easiest for the time being. Well, that one or this one probably actually. It's probably the easiest to work with to start off with. So when I work with anatomy, what I end up doing with it a lot of the time is, in order to learn it, I actually would take pictures like this and I would kind of trace over the key shapes. And so, like, if we take this wolf here, these are all public domain images as far as I know, so we should be good to use them. But, like, if I take this and I draw over the head here, oops, you can't really see that too well, can you? Maybe I'll put it on multiply? No. Darken? No. Let me try and get a good color that'll... I'm just gonna change the color. Sorry about that. I have never really done a tutorial video like this before, so we'll turn the lightness down, or maybe up. Up will work. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this okay, or I could do it in blue. Let me do it in blue, that way you guys can see. So what I usually end up doing is I'll kind of mark out the main shapes and figure out where everything is, kind of. Figure out the ears. The ears are right here. The chest is right here. And there's the elbow. The actual leg itself kind of goes up like this and then comes back to the shoulder. Then you have the wrist. Like I said, in the stream, wolves actually and canines walk on their toes. And so this is actually the wrist up here. And I'll just lay in the basic anatomy and kind of get a feel for it. The paw here is kind of hidden in the snow. Just kind of get a feel for where everything is, and the same thing in the back. So we'll have a circle for the hips, circle for the knee. This is the knee. They don't actually have a backwards knee. This is actually the ankle. And again, they walk on their toes. So if we wanted to break down the anatomy here, the other hip is a little bit further back because the way he's walking. And here we go. And then the tail kind of comes down in here and it connects a little bit like this. And so what you see is we're left with something much like this. If we go to a picture like this, we make a new layer, we zoom in, we'll do the same thing. And so I spent a lot of time kind of drawing over pictures of wolves and figuring out the basic shapes. And you will see me use these shapes whenever I do digital art. You'll see me use these same basic shapes again and again and again because they basically are a quick way of me to replicate and lay out the skeleton of the wolf so that I can draw it with relative accuracy. Now, real wolves are a little bit longer than the way I normally draw them, and the legs are sized differently. Basically, you want to get a feel for how the anatomy works, and then you can kind of mess around with it a little bit and kind of stylize it a little bit more. But in order to be able to stylize, you need to know how it even works. So the nose is like right there. But you need to be able to understand how the anatomy works. Let's look at this guy. Again, we're going to see these same basic shapes. We're going to see a shape for the head. The muzzle down here, he's got this weird bone thing in his mouth. And again, the eyes. I sometimes sketch this in, I don't always. And I just move really fast and outline these shapes. This time, the chest circle is kind of hidden by the head a little bit. You can still see the shoulder and the arm work in much the same ways. And if we come down here, we can see the anatomy there. The paw, the ankle, the knee is right about here, I think. Or, yeah. What is his leg? How is his leg even doing that? Okay, oh, I see what's happening. Okay, it comes up this way. The other leg is back here. He's walking a little strange in this picture. He's got his legs up at a weird angle. And then there's the tail. And again, you can see once more, we've sketched out this position. If we come back to the first one with the howling wolf, make a new layer. Again, we'll just draw a circle for the head. This time the eye is closed. The mouth is open, so normally what I'll do is I'll end up blocking in just the general shape and then drawing in the mouth. We have this circle for the body. And we have a circle for the back. This time the leg comes up, and then the actual leg is somewhere like this, but it's hidden. You can't actually see it. If we come down like this, again, you can see, oops, the anatomy doesn't really change that much. You can still see the general shapes. So we have these different pictures. We also have this one. Even in a front view, if we zoom in on this guy, he's going to have much the same anatomy. He's going to have the circle for the head. The eyes are going to be in a similar position. You just have to learn to get used to where stuff is. So I would recommend drawing over pictures like this if you want to learn about the anatomy, because it really does show you how the anatomy works. So this actually comes up like this, and then the shoulder blade's back here. And then you can see how the anatomy works in a functional picture. If I'm trying to work on an action shot, a lot of the time what I'll do is I will find a picture of a wolf in a similar pose and do something like this to figure out how the anatomy actually functions. And let's do this. Here's the knee again. Here's the back. And this guy's kind of muddy. Down there. And the tail is somewhere in the back this way. And again, it still works out with this positioning. So how does that apply practically to original art, where we're not just drawing over the shapes of an actual image? So I'll put these images back in. You can see how I drew over them. Well, we'll go ahead, we'll make a new file, and we will go ahead and I'll just quickly sketch Raiden for you guys. And well, I'll zoom out a little bit. Can we fit this to the screen actually? Yes, we can. What I'll do is I'll start a new layer. I often will make my brush very large for this, and I usually turn it down so that I can, when I ink over it in black, it's a little bit easier to see. So like, let's say we want to do just Raiden standing. So we're going to put in the same shapes that we put in for all of the other wolves that we drew. And we'll put in the back. I drew him a little, normally my wolves are a little bit shorter in the body, so we'll make him a little shorter. They're not quite as long as real wolves. Real wolves are kind of long. Let's scoot him up a little bit so that we have room to draw the feet. Let's draw in here. Again, you can see I'm just laying in the basic shapes. I don't lay them in as much detail, but if we go over this, I'll come over it in the darker blue in a bit. There's his tail. We'll go ahead, I'll just put him in my standard reference pose so you can see how that works, and we'll maybe do some action sketches as well. You can see if we go back to this color, you can still see we've got the head, we've got the body, we've got the back, they all connect, and then you can see we have the shoulder connecting to the upper arm, connecting to the lower arm. Again, you can see the same basic shapes here in this sketch. This doesn't even have to be Raiden. It can just be whoever. You can see the same basic layout here as you see in the pictures we traced off actual pictures. So it takes some time to get used to the canine anatomy, and really the best way to learn it is to just study actual canine anatomy. So let's look at our blue layer here. You can see it's pretty similar to the way we did our sketches there. Now it is a little bit more stylized and probably not the best because I was very quick about how I sketched. But you can still see the basic components are there. It works that way if we want to do an action shot too. I'll go ahead and make a new layer and make it big again. Let's say we want him running and we're going to have him facing this way. We're going to have his head right here and he's going to be running down towards the camera. That's really light. Let me come draw over it in something that's not quite so light. So he's kind of coming down at this sort of an angle. So here is his shoulder. A lot of the time I just abbreviate the legs to simpler to just like one line, and then I flesh them out. And he might have his other here. This is probably not the best. I'm just drawing this very quick. For this pose, I would probably actually find a reference if I wanted to draw it. And then his leg maybe will come back up this way. Come down like this. His tail will be doing whatever. You can see his eyes right here. Again, you can see similar components, or if we want to draw him laying down. Again, the components are much the same. You can see he's still got these same basic, I'm drawing all the poses I don't even know how to draw. He's still got these same basic components though. This should probably actually be back. A lot of the time when I sketch, I just keep it very, very loose and then I adjust it as I need to. You can see, and then there's the tail. He's got his other paw there. And we have him laying down. There's his eye. Normally I'll do something really loose like this, and then I might come over it in another color and kind of refine it a little bit. You can do any number of poses like this. You just have to get a feel for how the anatomy works and have a basic understanding of it. And a lot of the time I'll play around more with even these sketches to make sure they end up looking right. These are very, very quick sketches that I'm doing just for the sake of demonstration, but the same principles apply. You just want to get a feel for the anatomy and how it works. So I'll give you a little bit more of a detailed look in a minute. So like here. So again, basically, it's the same sort of thing in all of these. So let's come back to, let's use this one. This one's a pretty good image. So I'm actually going to come over it with different colors now, and kind of show you how I usually block out my poses. A lot of the time what I'll do, oops, why won't it let me? Oh, I'm not on a new layer, okay. So a lot of the time I'll block out the head and the chest and the back first. And then I will come in and I'll add the facial features. Kind of block in. Usually I block in where I want the nose a little bit too. We'll put in our guidelines here for reference. Block in the ears. We'll go ahead also and draw in the position of the legs. So a lot of the time I will draw in the legs like this, or at least as lines, just to kind of get an idea of where I'm going with them. And we'll go ahead, we'll put the back legs in yellow. Oops. Kind of just draw them in like this. This guy does have this back leg being a little weird. And we'll kind of just draw them in like this. And then we'll have the tail as well in the back there. So here we have our multicolor rainbow wolf, but you can kind of see just, again, the basic shapes as I block them out. If I was going to then turn this into a sketch, I would turn it way down and put in a white background so I can see what I'm doing. And then I would come over with the black and start drawing it in very carefully. And so we have black. Put this layer on top, and this isn't going to be a very detailed sketch. I'll just block it in real fast for you guys, except let's use an actual brush size I can work with. So we kind of make sure we get the positioning, kind of get the mouth in. I usually draw the mouth like that a little bit, and then again we're going to see something like this. There. And then I kind of draw my eyes a little differently. Actually, let me show you how I draw my eyes, because I do draw them a little differently. I usually draw them more like this, because this gives them a little bit more ability to have expression. And then whatever head fluff we do kind of comes just like this. He has his ears back here and over here. And this probably kind of comes underneath. He's going to have some fluff going up along the back. This is a really quick sketch. The quality is not going to be the greatest. So, and then he has his leg coming down like this. oops. And then he's got his paws coming like this. And oops, coming in around like this. And come down like this. And I usually just lay in a couple. For this one I'd probably even do 3. A couple of toes to make sure they're visible. This should be more like that. And then over here, we've got our back foot doing this. This one is facing almost straight on, and this one is not quite straight on. It's also partially hidden. Come in like this. The legs are the back legs are a little bit crossed over in this, so they're not quite as clarified. And we would have the back come like this. And then we'd come up like this. And come down like that. And then to do the tail, just kind of whatever fluff works. That's really bad, I'm sorry. No one should have to see that abomination. More like that. So if we turn off our layer, we now have this. Now the nose is a little longer than I usually draw it. We also didn't draw in this belly fluff there. But yeah, basically I could take this sketch, well maybe not this sketch, this is really a really quick sketch, and color it in, and we'd have a picture of Raiden. And we could do that based off the anatomy that we see in this picture, drawing over it like this and then inking over it. So that's basically my process when it comes to drawing and how I lay out the anatomy. I really do suggest going and finding a lot of reference images, because it helps a ton. And once you get used to the anatomy more, you can start playing around with it, like I talked about when we were looking at the differences between Deki, Katie, and Tomo, and how they all have sort of a different body shape, even though they're all still clearly wolves. So it's one of those things you have to get used to, working with the anatomy first, before you actually get into trying to change it up. But once you're familiar with the anatomy, which can take a while, you can do a whole lot. So yeah, definitely something to practice up. I really would recommend drawing over photos like this too, just to get experience. But do keep in mind that if you draw over a photo and make art based off a tracing from a photo, you gotta find out if the photo is available for free use or not. Otherwise you can get in trouble for that. These are all labeled as public domain, which means they're free to use. Most of these came off the site Pixabay, which has a lot of free use images, and then I think this one was from a Wikipedia, which also has a lot of free use images. So just make sure to check the rights on any picture you trace over if you plan on posting the art anywhere. So anyway, that's my simple anatomy tutorial. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that was coherent. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. And yeah, we hope to see you around on the channel.